Toyota just posted a profit jump of 76% in a single quarter while selling fewer cars and cutting its own electric vehicle target. That is not a typo. The company made $103 million a day every single day for 3 straight months, while building 20,000 fewer vehicles than the year before. This is the announcement that just blew up the entire car market. And by the end of this, you will understand exactly why it happened. Back in November 2021, at the Glasgow Climate Summit, almost every big car company in the world lined up to sign one pledge. Stop selling gas and diesel cars completely by 2040, and even sooner, by 2035, in the biggest markets. Ford signed it, General Motors signed it, Mercedes signed it, Volvo signed it, whole countries signed it. Toyota did not sign. And because Toyota was the biggest car maker on the planet, it took the biggest hit for saying no. Headlines called it a climate villain. For 4 years, Toyota was treated like the company that missed the memo. But here is what nobody saw coming. While everyone else was racing to build batteries, Toyota was quietly building 3 completely different bets at the same time, and paying for all of them with money made from selling hybrids. In June 2026, at the Fuji 24-hour race in Japan, Toyota entered a Corolla with an engine that burns liquid hydrogen instead of gasoline. Not a battery, not a fuel cell, a real engine, roaring for 24 hours straight, in front of 64,900 fans. It completed 483 laps, the most it has ever done, and it did it using the first superconducting liquid hydrogen pump ever built into a race car. The second bet is already making money. Toyota's hydrogen fuel cell trucks refuel in 15 to 20 minutes and can travel up to 500 miles on a full tank. In May 2026, Toyota announced a deal to put 40 of these hydrogen trucks to work hauling freight across Southern California. No battery on Earth that size can move an 80,000-pound truck and recharge that fast. This is the part where you need to remember something. Toyota was never against electric power. It was against betting the whole planet on one single type of battery, on one single deadline, when most of the world does not even have a reliable power grid. Hold on to that thought, because the third bet is the one that could change everything, and it is still not finished. Toyota has been working on solid-state batteries since 2012. Its partner, Idemitsu, broke ground on a huge factory to build the material these batteries need, with completion targeted for the end of 2027. Toyota is aiming for its first solid-state electric cars around 2027 or 2028, with a target range of about 745 miles on one charge, and a charge time of just 10 minutes to go from empty to almost full. If that number holds up, it does not just compete with a gas tank. It beats it. But here is the catch nobody likes to mention. Toyota already walked this number back once. It originally talked about over 900 miles of range, before settling on the 745-mile target we hear about today. Big promises in this industry have a habit of shrinking once reality shows up. While all of that was happening quietly, Toyota was also making a move almost nobody connected to the bigger picture. It committed $14.6 billion to build a fully owned Lexus electric vehicle plant in Shanghai, with production planned for 2027. This is not a partnership where Toyota just slaps its badge on someone else's car. This is Toyota teaming up directly with BYD through a joint venture to build batteries and electric platforms made specifically for Chinese customers at Chinese prices. One of its cars, the BZ5, launched using BYD's own battery technology and starts at just 129,800 yuan. Think about that for a second. The company that built its whole reputation on hybrids just built an electric car in China using its biggest rival's battery. That is not Toyota falling behind. That is Toyota deciding the fastest way to catch up is to build from the inside instead of fighting from the outside. Now back to that profit number, because this is where it all connects. Toyota raised its full-year profit forecast by more than 10% to 3.44 trillion yen and approved a 1 trillion yen stock buyback, all while U.S. tariffs cost the company 1.38 trillion yen, about $8.8 billion in a single year. For the first time in its history, Toyota now expects to sell more than 5 million hybrids in 1 year. That works out to roughly one hybrid rolling off a factory line somewhere on Earth every 6 seconds, day and night, all year long. That hybrid money is exactly what has been quietly funding the hydrogen engine, the fuel cell trucks, the solid-state battery plant, and the Shanghai factory this entire time. And here is the twist that made this announcement so big. In December 2025, the European Union proposed dropping its strict 2035 ban on gas cars, replacing it with a 90% emissions cut instead of a full ban. Plug-in hybrids and some gas cars would now be allowed to stay on sale past 2035. Ford, General Motors, Volkswagen, and Volvo have all quietly softened or delayed the exact same electric targets they once promised with full confidence. So was Toyota actually seeing further down the road than everyone else? Or did it just get lucky when the politics changed underneath it? That question is still sitting wide open, and it is exactly why this announcement really did blow up the entire car market.
Porsche just blew up the entire car market with an announcement that reads like two different companies talking at once. In the same breath, it killed its own electric ambitions and greenlit two brand new electric sports cars. That is not a contradiction. That is not a company that does not know what it wants. That is the biggest luxury automaker on earth quietly admitting that the rule every car company has followed for the last 10 years is dead. And the numbers it dropped days later prove it was right to break that rule. Here is where this starts. Back in 2022, Porsche was not just successful, it was the single most profitable car brand on the planet per vehicle sold. That year, it moved 309,000 cars and pulled in close to 6.8 billion euros at nearly an 18% operating margin in an industry where 8% counts as a great year. The company was strong enough that in 2022, it split off from Volkswagen and went public, raising roughly 9 billion euros at a valuation near 75 billion. For one brief moment, Porsche was worth more than the parent company that owned most of it. This was a brand that survived the 1973 oil crisis, clawed back from near bankruptcy in the early 1990s, and never once looked fragile. If you wanted one car company that would never fail, Porsche was the answer everyone gave. So when Porsche made its biggest bet ever, the whole industry leaned in. In 2020, it launched the Taycan, its first fully electric car. And in 2021, then CEO Oliver Blume made the promise official. By 2030, 80% of every Porsche sold would be electric or hybrid. Only the 911 would keep burning gasoline. The company poured close to 4.4 billion euros into EV production and platform development and locked in Swedish battery maker Northvolt to supply the cells for all of it. At first, it looked like genius. The Taycan peaked at 41,296 units sold in 2021, and analysts called it the thinking person's Tesla. Then, China turned its back. By 2021, China was Porsche's single largest market, close to a third of everything the company sold worldwide, nearly 96,000 units in 1 year. Then, almost overnight, that buyer walked away. Domestic brands like BYD, NIO, and Xiaomi launched electric cars that were more advanced and dramatically cheaper. Xiaomi, a phone company on its very first attempt at building a car, shipped the SU7, sold over 100,000 of them in a single year, and posted a faster lap time around a Shanghai circuit than the Taycan itself. While China was slipping away, the Taycan's own reputation was falling apart. Consumer Reports flagged it as one of the least reliable vehicles of 2023. Owners reported highway warning lights, full system failures, and battery problems serious enough to trigger recalls covering more than 27,700 vehicles in the United States alone over a defect that could cause internal short circuits. Porsche's own guidance to owners was blunt: limit charging to 80% capacity until the fix arrived. So Porsche did something it had never done in its history. It discounted hard, slashing prices on the Taycan and even cutting the sacred 911 by more than 10% just to clear lots, quietly destroying the one thing the brand could never afford to lose: the idea that a Porsche is never on sale. Then the foundation cracked completely. In November 2024, Northvolt filed for bankruptcy, taking Porsche's entire battery supply plan down with it. The next-generation electric 718 Boxster got pushed from 2025 to at least 2027. In August 2025, Porsche shut down its own battery subsidiary, Cellforce, laid off roughly 200 workers and wrote off hundreds of millions of euros that would never earn a cent. Inside the company, it turned into open warfare. In February 2025, Porsche fired its own CFO and sales chief after they publicly contradicted the CEO. That same October, Porsche quietly abandoned the 80% by 2030 target entirely. 3 months later, the board pulled the plug on Blum himself, who had been running both Porsche and parent Volkswagen at once. In came Michael Leiters, a Ferrari and McLaren veteran with 13 years of earlier Porsche experience, starting January 1st, 2026. On March 11th, 2026, Porsche released its full 2025 results, and they were ugly. Group operating profit for the year, 413 million euros, down 93% from 5.6 billion. Automotive division profit specifically, 90 million euros, down 98%. Revenue fell 9.5% to 36.27 billion. Net profit after tax dropped 91% to just 310 million. The Taycan sold just over 16,000 units for the year, down more than 60% from its 2021 peak. In July 2026, Leiters confirmed Porsche is pulling back hard on electric, redirecting money into gasoline and hybrid models. The new flagship K1 SUV, once planned as a pure electric statement piece, is now launching gasoline first, sharing bones with the upcoming Audi Q9 and offered with V6 and V8 engines. The electric Panamera got pushed indefinitely. Porsche even stepped back from its software partnership with Rivian.